Listen. Hear that click? That is Morse code. It ruled the early sky. It was simple. It was crude. Taps cut through static. Pips pierced the void. Operators valued speed. Time was precious. Airtime was short. They used shortcuts. Single letters saved minutes. The letter R meant something vital. R stood for received. It meant a message arrived. It meant understanding. No extra words, just one tap, just one letter. R. Then came the voice. Spark gap transmitters died. Vacuum tubes roared to life. Pilots spoke into carbon cups. Static flooded the airwaves. Radios crackled. Signals faded. Audio quality was terrible. Voices sounded thin. Words dissolved in noise. The word yes failed. Say it out loud. Yes! It is a single syllable. It is soft. It gets swallowed by engine roar. It disappears in static. A pilot could miss it. A controller could mishear it. Confusion meant disaster. Ambiguity meant death. A better word was needed. A clear sound was required. Enter the phonetic alphabet. Letters needed names, distinct names, sharp names, unmistakable sounds. Before the modern era, R needed a voice. In the United States Army Signal Corps, R became Roger, R-O-H-J. Two hard syllables, a crisp initial consonant, a rolling finish. It punched through noise. It cut through engine hum. It was unyielding. It was distinct. The year was 1927. Aviation was growing fast. The U.S. Navy adopted it. Interwar aviators repeated it. It spread across airfields. It echoed across runways. When a pilot heard Roger, they heard the letter R. They heard received. They did not hear yes. They heard clarity. Static was the enemy. Crackle filled the headsets. Early headsets clamped tight. They pressed against leather helmets. Engine noise bled through. Propellers roared at full throttle. Inside the cockpit, chaos reigned. A pilot could not guess. A pilot needed certainty. The single syllable yes was dangerous. It sounded like press. It sounded like less. It sounded like noise. Roger was bulletproof. Roger. The heavy R locked the frequency. The middle J bit hard. It carried across thousands of yards. It survived weak batteries. It survived bad antennas. It built a bridge of sound. The early sky was dangerous. Navigation was visual. Weather tracking was primitive. Communication was the only lifeline. When the ground spoke, the pilot listened. When the pilot answered, every sound counted. The British Royal Air Force had their own terms. They used Robert. They used Robertson. Robert. It sounded formal. It sounded heavy. It lacked the punch. It was clumsy on the key. It was awkward on the mic. World War II changed everything. Allies had to fly together. Allies had to speak together. The RAF dropped Robert. They embraced Roger. The word unified the skies. It unified the doctrine. From Pacific carriers to European fields, one word ruled. Cooperation demanded simplicity. American bomber crews shared frequencies with British fighters. Language barriers existed. Accents varied wildly. A Texan voice sounded strange to a Londoner. A Scottish brogue confused a New Yorker. The phonetic code dissolved accents. It normalized speech. Roger sounded the same in every mouth. It meant one thing: message received, information stored, transmission clear. It was not agreement, it was not approval, it was data reception, nothing more, nothing less. The early days established the rule. Brevity saves lives. Precision prevents fires. The radio was not for chatting. The radio was an instrument. You tuned it like an engine. You spoke with calculated force. You dropped unnecessary breath. You eliminated fluff. Yes was fluff. Roger was steel. It filled the cockpit. It gave the pilot control. It gave the controller peace. The tradition took root. It sank deep into the soil of flight. It became the DNA of radio talk. The world explodes. The sky becomes a battlefield. Thousands of aircraft take flight. Frequencies grow crowded. Chaos fills the airwaves. In the heat of combat, words matter. A misheard phrase means mid-air collision. A missed instruction means death. Radio operators sweat. Their hands tremble on the switches. Flak rattles the airframes. Merlin engines scream. Radial engines thunder. Inside a Lancaster bomber, noise is deafening. Inside a P-51 Mustang, space is tight. Pilots bark orders. Controllers direct traffic. The word Roger echoes millions of times. It becomes the sound of survival. It enters popular culture. Newsreels capture it. War correspondents report it. Hollywood prints it into scripts. The public hears it on radios at home. Roger becomes synonymous with flying. It becomes the voice of the hero. Pause. Look at the pilot. He breathes oxygen. The mask muffles his mouth. The microphone presses his lips. Speech is distorted. Vowels get crushed. Consonants must work harder. Say yes through rubber. It turns into a hiss. It sounds like windbleed. Say Roger through rubber. R-O-H-Ger. The structure holds. The cadence cuts through oxygen regulators. The ground crew hears the acknowledgement. They know the bomber is alive. They know the crew heard the vector. The war ends in 1945. Aviation enters a new age. Jets emerge. Speeds double. Altitudes double. Response times shrink to split seconds. The old phonetic alphabets begin to fail. They were regional. They were nationalistic. The international sky needs standard rules. Global flight explodes. Civilian airliners cross oceans. Pilots speak different native tongues. French pilots, Spanish pilots, Japanese pilots. They all fly the same airways. They all use the same frequencies. The International Civil Aviation Organization takes charge. We call them ICAO. They review the phonetic code. They test every letter. They test every sound against international ears. Pause. They ran tests. They analyzed dialects. They searched for confusion points. Some words did not translate well. Some phonetic letters failed under noise. Other organizations had used different words for R. They tried Rome. They tried Rivoli. They tried Roma. They tried Rosa. None held up. In 1956, NATO and ICAO finalized a new list. They needed maximum international clarity. The letter R got a new name. They killed Roger as a letter. They replaced it with Romeo. R-O-me-O. 3 syllables. Soft ending, easily recognized by non-English speakers. Roger was stripped of its official alphabet duty. It was no longer the letter R. Romeo took the throne. Yet something strange happened. The letter changed. The word remained. Pilots refused to drop Roger. It was too deeply buried. It was too useful. It had evolved beyond a simple letter. It was now a functional tool. It meant procedural understanding. The Air Force tried to clean up the jargon. The Navy updated manual pages. It did not matter. The word survived the purge. It survived the bureaucracy. Why? Because it filled a specific logical gap. It was a functional phrase. It wasn't just a letter anymore. It was a status report. It reported the state of the receiver. It said, "My equipment works. My ears heard you. My brain processed it." All in 2 syllables. No other word did that job so cleanly. Yes could never compete. Yes was emotional. Yes was informal. Yes lacked mechanical certainty. Roger remained king of the airwaves. Let us look at radio logic. Aviation speech is not natural speech. It is code. It is structured protocol. It eliminates human error. Every word has a precise definition. There are no synonyms in the sky. There is no room for creative phrasing. Consider the three critical responses. Response 1, Roger. ROHGR. Definition, I have received your last transmission. Crucial distinction. It does not mean I will comply. It does not mean I agree. It means I heard the noise and understood the words. Response 2, Wilco. Definition, I understand your instruction and I will comply. It implies action. It promises execution. Response 3, affirmative. Affirmative. Definition, yes, that is correct. 3 distinct tasks, 3 distinct words. Mix these up and airplanes crash. Imagine a controller talking to a jet. Tower says, turn left, heading 090. If the pilot says, yes, what does that mean? Does it mean, yes, I hear you? Does it mean, yes, I am turning? Does it mean, yes, that is my current heading? Yes creates a dangerous trap. It invites assumptions. Assumptions build disasters. Now, change the script. Tower says, turn left, heading 090. Pilot says, Roger. The tower knows the pilot heard the command. But wait. In modern rules, Roger is not even enough for heading changes. The pilot must read back the numbers. They must say, leaving heading 180 for 090. Why? Because Roger confirms reception, not correctness. If the controller misspoke, Roger hides the error. So procedural protocol tightened further. Yet Roger retains its place for general statements. Tower says, traffic is a Boeing 737 at your 3 o'clock, 10 miles. Pilot looks out the window. Pilot sees nothing yet. Pilot says, Roger, meaning I copy the traffic information. I am looking. He does not say affirmative, because affirmative would mean yes. I have the traffic in sight. That would be a lie. That would blind the controller. Precision in speech protects the metal in the air. Look at the word affirmative. 4 sharp syllables. Affirmative. It replaces yes. Why 4 syllables? Because it cannot be shortened by static. Even if the first syllable cuts out, you hear affirmative. Even if the end cuts out, you hear affirm. The meaning survives clipping. Now look at negative. Negative. 3 sharp syllables. It replaces no. No is a dead word on the radio. A momentary click hides no. A cough destroys no. Negative stands like a wall. It is loud, it is harsh, it is unmistakable. The sky demands phonetic armor. Every word is shielded. Every phrase is constructed like a brick. Roger is a brick. Affirmative is a brick. Negative is a brick. Yes is a feather. A feather blows away in the wind. The power of this language spread fast. It leaped from airplanes to ships. Naval captains adopted the radio standard. Submarine crews used it in dark waters. Then came the space race. NASA stepped into the arena. Rockets blasted toward the moon. Distance stretched the signals. Delay entered the link. Audio from Earth to the lunar surface was grainy. It was filled with solar hiss. It drifted across hundreds of thousands of miles. Astronauts were trained on aviation standards. They were military test pilots. Their tongues were conditioned. Their minds were wired for clarity. Houston, Roger. Those words echoed from orbit. They floated over the craters of the moon. Neil Armstrong used it. Buzz Aldrin used it. The terminology held true on the frontier of space. It was the ultimate proof of design. A system built for 1920s biplanes worked on 1960s mooncraft. Human psychology plays a massive role. In high-stress environments, cognitive load explodes. A pilot managing an engine fire has no spare focus. His heart rate spikes to 160 beats per minute. His vision tunnels. His fine motor skills degrade. His speech patterns regress. Under extreme stress, humans slur words. They drop consonants. They stammer. Standardized phrasing acts as an anchor. It relies on muscle memory. The brain does not need to compose a sentence. The brain executes a pre-programmed acoustic routine. Trigger, hear information. Action, say Roger. No thinking required, no grammar processing. It fires automatically from the brainstem. It preserves precious mental bandwidth. It keeps the pilot focused on flying the aircraft. Aviators call this aviate, navigate, communicate. Talking comes last. When you do talk, you use macro commands. Roger is a macro. It compresses complex acknowledgement into one mechanical stroke. Today, cockpits are quiet. Digital radios are crystal clear. Noise-canceling headsets filter out the jet blast. Synthesized voices alert the crew. Yet the old word remains. It is a legacy of the pioneers. It is a monument to early radio men. It links a modern Airbus pilot to a 1917 biplane flyer. They use the same tool. They share the same sound. Even with satellite data links, pilot voice chatter relies on tradition. Text messaging now exists in cockpits. It is called Controller-Pilot Data Link Communications. CPDLC. Pilots get text commands on screens. They push a button to reply. What does the button say? It does not say yes. It says accept. Or it says Wilco. The logic survived the digital transition. The spoken word Roger is still heard on the VHF bands every second of every day. Somewhere over the Atlantic, somewhere over Tokyo. A pilot keying the mic, passing the message along. Words build culture. Aviation culture is built on discipline. It treats small details as matters of life and death. Because small details are matters of life and death. The drop of a single word can change an outcome. The use of yes is a sign of an amateur. In flight training, student pilots get corrected fast. First lesson on the radio. Student says, "Yes, I see the runway." Instructor cuts in immediately. Instructor says, say, "Traffic in sight," or affirmative. The habit is broken early. The standard is hammered home. Fly clean, speak clean. The radio spectrum is shared property. Only one person can transmit on a frequency at a time. If two people press the button at once, the radio squeals. It is called a step over. It blocks both transmissions. Keying the mic ties up the entire air traffic sector. Every second you spend talking stops someone else from talking. If an emergency happens, a jammed frequency can kill. Brevity is safety. Roger takes less than 1 second to speak. ROH GER. 0.8 seconds of airtime. It delivers total certainty. It clears the frequency for the next pilot. It keeps the sky moving. Pause. Think of the global scale. 100,000 flights a day. Millions of radio calls. A massive, invisible orchestra playing in the clouds. No misinterpretations allowed. No regional slang permitted. If pilots used local terms for yes, the system would collapse. Imagine a Spanish pilot saying SE. Imagine a German pilot saying JA. Imagine a Russian pilot saying DA. The air traffic system would turn into chaos. The English language was chosen as the international standard, and within English, aviation terminology was sculpted. Excess material was shaved off. Vague words were thrown away. Roger survived the sculpting process. It was too strong to discard. It was too simple to break. So why don't pilots say yes? Because yes is an answer to a question. Radios are not for chatting. Radios are for data transfer. Yes is soft. Yes gets lost in static. Yes creates confusion. Roger is ironclad. Roger carries history. It carries the Morse operators tapping in the dark. It carries the World War II bombers in the flak. It carries the early astronauts leaping into the dark. It stands for the letter R. It stands for received. It means the message got through. It means the sky remains safe for one more moment. Message sent, message received. Roger!